Okay, so I was listening on YouTube. There's like a 3-song demo. Like one song is yours, one song is Kathy's, and one song is a Mudcrutch song, a Tom Petty
Tom
song.
Petty song, yeah.
How did you get a hold of that?
Well, Saul Davis was managing Phil Seymour at the time, who was he was on Shelter. I mean, he was one of the Shelter Records guys. Phil Seymour is the voice that you hear that sings on American Girl at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And on Breakdown, the Baby Breakdown. That's Phil Seymour, and he was in the Dwight Twilley band. They were from Oklahoma, and they came out to L.A. and were trying to get a record deal, and then they split up. And Saul, my manager, met Phil Seymour at a Tom Petty show, New Year's Eve, 1978, I think, or 77 maybe, and he was singing with. Let's see, was it singing with? Yeah, he was singing with Tom Petty that night. So he said, I'd love to represent you. You're a great singer. I'd love to help you, get a record deal. So that's how he met him, and all the people at Shelter became Saul's friends. So
Okay,
that was an unreleased song.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Kathy and I used to do Anything Is Rock and Roll, which is an English single that I bought that in England actually. I didn't know about Tom Petty before when I was in England in 1977. A friend of mine was married to Jake Riviera. Not yet married yet, but her husband was going to be Jake Riviera, Elvis Costello's manager, and she's from San Antonio, and I knew her from there. And she's, we sort of hung out in England for a little while during that whole Nick Lowe, Elvis Costello, all those guys, Rock Pile, all those groups coming up, and we went to all the shows in London, and I was in a record store and saw this band that kind of looked like a bunch of Southerners, and I went, this must be good. So I bought that single. As a matter of fact, at that point, I think they were touring with the Kinks.
Oh, what a good!
Yeah, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers were touring with the Kinks in England at the time, and I thought, they got to be good if they're touring with the Kinks. So I bought the single, brought it home, and then I met Kathy there in Austin right after I got back in 77 from Europe. That's another trip to Europe. And she was looking for another guitar player to work with, and so we kind of started playing together, and that was one of the songs we worked up for our band. Was that song "Anything Is Rock and Roll"?
Wow.
Yeah, we did a bunch of other stuff. We did a bunch of Sex Pistols and a bunch of Damned and Mott the Hoople and Stones and
So you did like was it the Troubadour you mostly played, or was it Starwood?
No, this was in Austin. We were a band called the Violators in Austin.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
We were considered a punk new wave band, and it was a girl drummer, me, Kathy, and then Jesse Sublett, who was the bass player for. Kathy had him in a band too later, but he was in a band called the